Hey, it's Chuck Armstrong with Loudwire Nights, and this is Loudwire Nights On Demand. We recently caught up with A Day to Remember frontman Jeremy McKinnon, and it was so great to bring this conversation to Loudwire Nights. This first aired on Thursday, June 13th. Enjoy this one. We are sitting backstage at Azura Amphitheater in Bonner Springs, Kansas, just outside of Kansas City, hanging with Jeremy McKinnon as we celebrate the least anticipated tour with A Day to Remember. Jeremy, how are you feeling, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm feeling better now, man.
Good.
So I got to ask right out of the gate, the title of this tour, the least anticipated tour, it doesn't exactly exude excitement for a new album or anything, but what's going on here?
So we were just talking, as we're, over time putting stuff together. It's like getting closer and closer to something that we feel like, eventually we'll put out. And it's just funny, like you see all these like anticipated albums of the year and like nobody has any idea that we were doing anything because we don't talk about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've just like in the past, like anytime we throw out a date, we rarely hit it seems like these days, and we upset some people. So we're trying to learn our lesson, make sure everything's absolutely done, and then just all guns blazing. So, yeah.
Simple enough, man. And listen, I'm not going to hold you to anything, but new song feedback.
Yes.
It's killer.
Thank you.
Should we anticipate a new album?
I mean, there will be a new album eventually.
Eventually, I like that. All right, that's good, man. So this new song, Feedback, the second I heard it, I was hooked. I mean, I think before the song was even over, I was, emailing the record label like, how the hell is this so good, man?
Thank you, man. I personally was a really big fan of it, too, just of all the stuff we were putting together. Like, that just kept being something I kept going back to. For me, it was something I really loved. That song Paranoia we did on Bad Vibes, like to me that always had like, it was like the punk version of, I don't know, Ace of Spades or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? The first time I heard that little like lead that Kevin was doing, I was like, oh my God, that kind of reminds me, we should do it like this. And so for me, Feedback almost felt like an extension of that song. It was still in that like rock world, but then like had the punk twist on it, and then like the real heavy breakdown in the bridge. Like I just thought it was cool. I thought it was a different take on stuff we'd done in the past that still felt like it could be us, but it's still a little bit different. Trying to add things to the catalog to surprise people still,
I imagine you're, it's not the only song that you've worked on or maybe even finished,
right.
But is it representative of sort of like a sound?
I would say absolutely not. So with A Day to Remember, and this is the way we've always done stuff, it's very much whatever we're influenced by at the time, whatever feels right musically, or just, like I said, whatever we're into in the moment. And that's why it's always been like a bunch of things that all get tied together with that same, like A Day to Remember, whatever the reference is. People call it pop punk, metalcore, whatever, with breakdowns. It's all about changing whatever that other influence is with the mixture. So I actually would say this is not representative of the whole record. It was just one that stuck out, that we liked, that was fun, energetic. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, it's a killer song, and we love it at Loudwire for sure. It's interesting you talking about the sound, and A Day to Remember never fits nicely into any genre or anything like that.
Right. That's actually been like our superpower too over the years.
Yeah.
Like we play these festivals, like we can play like these super heavy ones, we can play like a poppy one, and we just stand out because of that, which has been a real blessing.
Has it been hard to do that? Like I have to imagine at some point you feel outside pressure. Maybe you need to squeeze it into a certain genre or anything like that, or...
See, what's hard for us is like, I don't know. Like, I can't personally go out and just write something in a box like that, because that's just not how any of the stuff that anyone's ever cared about for us ever got created. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's always this like overarching, are we doing the thing that A Day to Remember does right now, regardless of the influence. So we try to keep that structure that makes us uniquely us with anything we do. It's really just up to the listener what they prefer. So like we do stuff that's way more poppy. Some people know us just for that. Some people know us just for mixing pop punk and breakdowns, and then other people like us just for the heavy stuff. So it's like there's people that want us to do just one thing across the board at all times. So we kind of find ourselves in this position where no one's ever happy. which is like cool, but at the same time it's like, man, like you just got to put out the whole record. You know what I mean? At some point, it's just they're going to find the things they like.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, listen, we're here, 21 years later since you guys started? So, to still be talking about this, still be celebrating new music.
I know. And that people care. People still come to see it,
Yeah.
So we're in a good place.
As I'm walking into this venue, man, people lined up getting excited about being front row as close as they can.
Yeah, man. It's been great. These last 2 shows have been awesome, and we're excited about all the bands that are here with us, and it's going to be a good time. Yeah,
so when listeners hear this show will have been completed,
right,
and we'll probably have played a few more shows, but this is night 3 on the tour. Is it too early for you to kind of have a feel for how the tour's going, or do you have a pretty good sense as soon as the tour kicks off?
I got to tell you, we try to do some different stuff this time. We wanted to try to play some songs that we don't usually play, without making the set feel too bloated. Because some like the things that people talk about in like the fan forums are a little bit more deeper cuts. So the people that just like us at like a surface level that aren't like super fans, they don't know them.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to find that balance to like play enough of the special songs that the real diehard fans want to hear, while not boring people who are just like know a few. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So we were trying something different this time. We like. Some songs are longer than usual. We tried to trim a few down to play like the really action-packed sections of those songs and like tie them into other songs. So we didn't really know what to expect. And then show 1, it was just absolute chaos in like the best way.
Awesome.
So we were all kind of nervous about it because it's like a little bit longer of a set list for us. We were afraid we were going to bore people. And then it was just insanity. So yeah, we're excited about it. All the like fan forums are super excited about the songs that we're playing. So yeah, we're stoked.
That's great, man. So listen, I want to ask you, we have the chance to talk to a lot of rock stars and musicians and artists and songwriters on the show, and your name gets brought up, pretty frequently, whether it's as a special guest, as a producer, as a friend, as a collaborator, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you've worked with a lot of people we love, Wage War and Ghost Inside, and special guest with Hardy on his last album.
Yeah.
And that's just scratching the surface. What is it about all that kind of gives you life? Because there's plenty of people who get in their band, and 21 years later, like they've honed their craft and they're happy doing just that. You seem like you've got your hands in a lot of different places, and that sort of drives you. What is it about all of that gives you life?
So for me, actually, the creation and writing of the music is the thing that just like you said, gives me life. Like that's the whole part of this that is really my passion, is to just be in the room trying to write something that you're excited about with people you're into, you're also inspired by, and just like chasing this thing down and this excitement of like when you find something you're all excited about at the same time, and just seeing where it goes. Like that process is why I do this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then just playing live and people liking us, that's a total that was an accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the writing of the music and writing with others is really my passion for the whole thing.
That's great. That's cool, man. Is there like a dream collaboration out there that hasn't happened yet?
I mean, I honestly, man, I'm a fan of everything. So, I mean, you name it. I mean, anybody over the years that we've toured with, we pretty much love. So any of those guys, I'm trying to think like, I mean, something crazy like that's a little bit more wild. Dave Grohl would be awesome. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Just like, man,
yeah, it'd be pretty good. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I remember back in the day, I was saying, well, waited a little too long to reach out for this, but Tom Petty would have been up there for me. Yeah. There was a time where I was like considering putting together like a more just like singer-songwriter-y kind of my own stuff, because like I do that on the side anyway, and some of it just would never work for a Day to Remember, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to like reach out and see if he would like just produce like a song or two or something, but should have done it. Do it, ladies and gentlemen. Reach out.
That's right, man. Don't wait. Well, there's plenty of those people still
Yeah.
around today. You know, the first guy who comes to my mind, he's actually going to play this amphitheater later this year, but Jason Isbell. Do you know that name?
my
Yeah.
God, I love Jason Isbell.
But see, as you talk about singer-songwriter and stuff that wouldn't fit A Day to Remember and Tom Petty, like, I could see that.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially
love to hear that, man.
especially for the stuff that has never been released. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that in there. We definitely dressed it up in a more modern pop format, but that song "F You Money" was my version of a modern Tom Petty song in my head, at least. You know, like I said,
awesome.
we dressed it up like a pop song kind of. But if you go back and listen to it and think of Tom Petty, you can hear it. It's like,
I love that, man. Well, you know, kind of thinking outside the box too, I love the fact that you were with Hardy on The Mockingbird and the Crow. And listen, man, on Loudwire, I'm all for widening the gates.
Oh, yeah.
You know, welcoming as many fans as we can into the rock and roll world. That's not a universal feeling.
Right.
And plenty of people say, there's no room for country and rock. What do you think when you hear that?
I think it's awesome. I guess I'm the wrong guy to ask that question, too, for purists. Well, you know, like, that's kind of been our thing the whole time. It's like mixing these different genres don't really make sense. So I'm a fan of it. Like, I thought it was kind of cool when, you know, hip-hop artists were doing it. There was some really great songs, I thought, through that whole thing. MGK's, I think it was Paper Cuts. I absolutely loved that song, Paper Cuts. I thought that was a badass song. Hardy's got a ton of badass songs. Truck Bed, that song's bad ass, you know what I mean? And it's still a rock song.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of it. I always like collaborating. I mean, look at Run DMC back in the day with Aerosmith, you know? Like,
for sure, man.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's meant to be fun. Not everything has to be super serious. I'm for it.
Yeah, and listen, more people listening to rock and roll, listening to music.
That too, man. That
celebrating music.
How about the year or two rock has had? And it's all because people are working together, people are touring together, and it's all positive.
I love it, man. Listen, that's a good note to end this on. Jeremy McKinnon of A Day to Remember, so great hanging. Congrats on this new tour that you're just on the beginnings of. Can't wait to see the rest of it. And congrats on Feedback. Truly, I think it's going to be one of the funnest songs of the year, one of the most celebrated songs of the year, and I cannot wait for this quote eventual album that is coming.
Yeah, one day.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can have you back on the show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
That wraps up this episode of Loudwire Nights on Demand. Stay caught up with everything happening in the world of rock and metal on the Loudwire app and at loudwire.com.